And welcome back. We are here at the Head of the Charles 53rd Annual Head Race Regatta. This is the biggest race in the world, and I'm super excited to be here again today with a rower that I actually rode with over 10 years ago now, which I cannot believe.
Yeah.
The amazing singles rower, Hugh McAdam, which I'm so excited to have. So thank you so much for coming out here to talk to us.
My pleasure to be here.
So it's been 10 years, so you've done a lot in 10 years, and you were amazing back then when we were at Penn AC out on the Schuylkill in Philadelphia.
Yep.
But since then, catch us up a little bit, because you've been doing some pretty cool things at this regatta in particular for the last few years.
So at this regatta in particular, I've won this regatta the last 3 years in a row.
No big deal.
No big deal. And I've medaled the last 6 years in the light single.
Okay, and so where are you living, training, where are you coming from?
So I recently moved to Hanover, New Hampshire, sort of training with the Upper Valley Rowing Club, / a little bit with Dartmouth College, which has been awesome. They've been super inviting. Before that, I was at Craftsbury for 5 years. 5 years. Mostly sculling, lightweight single, lightweight double.
Okay, and so is that any different from Philly? Are you getting any different weather, any different training? What kind of transition is that? What is that like?
So northern Vermont is a little bit different from Philadelphia. There's a lot more snow and a lot more cold. So I got in a lot of cross-country skiing in the winter for cross training, which was great. Hopefully I'll be able to keep that up in Hanover. But with the fall we've been having, who knows? I might just keep rowing all year, which would be great. There's a lot less traffic than in Philadelphia, so a lot fewer people, but I like it up there. It's been great so far. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So cross-country skiing is kind of your cross training to really stay in shape. Because I know cross-country skiing is kind of on par with difficulty-wise
I'd say
as
so.
rowing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
I'd say
Okay. So then what brings you back to this race in particular? I mean, you've come back here year after year after year and won,
We'll
it
say
so many
three.
times in medal.
So, I mean, like you said in your intro, this is the biggest regatta in the world. And it's one of the most prestigious regattas in the world. And I have the ability and the entry, the automatic entry, so it's silly not to come here and get as much exposure as I can in the rowing world.
So you've done a really good job of holding everybody off, and you've gotten that bow number one a few times now.
Yeah.
So with that kind of security, I guess, knowing that you're coming back as bow number one, who is kind of coming up behind you to kind of challenge you and push you that could potentially overtake you?
So the guys starting 2 and 3, Alex Twist and Pete Schmidt, they're both going to be quick. They were both on the national team this year. Alex was in the light pair and Pete was in the light double. So they're clearly contenders. Past that, I haven't heard of everybody in the field, but that's how I started with this regatta too. I was way back in the field and got a little lucky. So you never know what could happen, further down the back end. So.
Yeah, that's true. And so have you actually raced these guys before?
Alex and Pete, we've raced a few times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think then gives you that edge or that advantage that kind of keeps you in that number one spot?
That's a good question.
What's your X factor?
My X factor. I embarrassment at this point.
I like that. That's pretty good.
I don't know. It's the streak is alive and well, and knock on wood, didn't jinx myself. I don't want it to end. It'll be a little embarrassing when it ends. I know it's got to eventually, but.
So is it kind of one of those things like you feel like you have everything to lose and they kind of have it all to gain?
Exactly.
So you're holding them off at this point.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. Now, I have talked to a few different scullers here,
Yeah.
and this race is kind of known as a coxswain's race because it's very technical.
Yeah.
The bridges are at funky angles.
Yes.
It is a very, very difficult course, and I can say from coxing this race for 8 to 10 years now, 8 years now, I think. Fours and eights, it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
And I can see. You're in a blind boat, so how do you navigate this river blind?
Dumb luck.
Dumb luck. That's incredible luck.
No, it's you know, being close. I'm close enough where I live and train that I can come down here every once in a while and get on the river. After racing it for a few years, I kind of know the turns a little bit. There's still a lot of looking around. You know, hitting a bridge would be not good.
Can I interrupt you and ask if you've ever done that here?
No, not yet, luckily. But there's a first for anything and everything.
Sure.
So I'm gonna try and keep my not hitting bridges streak alive.
Sure. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, so you would say that you pretty much have to just keep looking, like you kind of.
Yeah, there's a lot of looking. Got to know where the buoys are. Try and pay attention to what the buoys are doing, and I steer off of them.
Okay. And do you think it gets better and better with experience? Like because you've been here so many years now, you kind of know the bridges, the turns a little bit better, or is it something that comes with just being an experienced rower, where you know where to pick your points?
I think it's a little of column A, a little of column B. I mean, it helps to know where the points are, and it helps to have the experience on the river for sure. Of course, changes a little bit every year, so that makes it a little bit interesting. It's never quite the same course. So they try and keep us on our toes a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. And how does weather affect you in a single on this course?
A lot, you know, especially as a lightweight. If the wind is blowing the wrong direction, it gets really slow and really heavy really quick. If it's a tailwind, it's a lot of fun. You know, but we all got to row in it. We all got to row in the headwind. We all got to row in the tailwind. We all got to row in the chop. So it doesn't really. It affects everybody, and it's just a matter of who can handle the conditions the best, really.
Sure. And is there a certain part of this course or a certain turn or anything that's kind of particularly challenging, you think, in a blind boat?
Weeks. The turns start the turn before the bridge. They expect you to make the turn through the bridge and use the abutment as part of the course. So if you cut it too tight, you can clip an oar on the edge of the bridge, and that'll screw up a lot of people real quick.
That's true. I would actually say that is true in a 4 and an 8
well.
as
Yeah,
well.
for any boat. Yeah.
It's really, yeah.
Weeks is probably the hardest turn.
Yeah. It's definitely a tight turn with a funky angle
yeah,
bridge, and
and
you have
can't
to
see
set
where
it up
you're
very early.
You can't see where you're coming out of it, and
Yeah.
it's challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, that's awesome. So you're going out to race pretty soon. We're really excited to see how you do, and obviously you know the course really well, and you know you've done this, which kind of adds to the cool factor, and you know you just go out there and I'm sure just have a good time because I've seen you race and it's beautiful and it's amazing to watch you race, and it's always inspiring. So after this race, which I'm hoping we'll hear more about, what do you have coming up? Like what next?
So the next 2 events, short term, Head of the Fish next weekend, and then I believe Saratoga Rowing Association is putting on a fall speed order. So I think I'll go to that just because it's close by. It's another opportunity to race. Longer term, trying to figure out a lightweight doubles partner and hopefully go to World Championships next year in the light double and start the process towards getting the United States qualifying a lightweight double for Tokyo.
Okay, so moving into a double rather than a single.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least for the sprinters.
Okay. Do you have your eyes on anyone in particular?
I've been talking to a couple of other lightweights, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, is there any advice or anything that you would tell younger rowers or newer rowers coming up, especially in blind boats, that are maybe coming onto this course for the first time that might be intimidated? Because it's a very intimidating course.
Yeah, for sure.
Even looking at the map, it's very intimidating. So what advice would you give to a newer, younger rower that is maybe stepping onto the course for the first, maybe second time, that's pretty green?
Wow, that is a good question. I have never thought about that. What would I say? I'd say really pay attention to where the buoys are. Don't get cute with it. Don't try and get your oars over one buoy or the other side. That's just going to get you in trouble because if one's a little off, then you're in trouble. You know, try and stay in the middle of the river. Try and not hit bridges. That's a good one. Stay relaxed. It's a long race, so you just keep grinding it away.
And besides, I know you said you've not hit any bridges, but have you ever had any other disasters or anything
here
scary happen on this course? Any drama?
Luckily, I've had very little drama at this regatta. I'd like to keep it that way, but like I said, there's a first time for everything. So, knock on wood.
You'll be fine. Well, is there anything else that you can tell us that you have coming up? Anywhere that we can look for you, follow you on social media? We would love to follow your road to Tokyo. You know, if you can, you know, tell us where to follow you.
Social media, I have a Facebook page, Hugh McAdam. It's easy. Instagram, Oh the Humanity. Thought that was clever. Yeah, and then another Optimized Drawing. It's also on Facebook. You can find me there. It's a little bit of a online coaching thing. There's going to be a vlog associated with it, with what's going on. It'll keep everybody updated with what I'm doing.
So if you want to get really expert advice, not only would I send anyone and everyone I know to you, because I know what an amazing person and rower, and you know, you're awesome. So yes, we'll send people there.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we'll definitely follow your road, your next few races, and we really look forward to watching you race really soon, actually. Really
2 hours.
soon.
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we'll wish for tailwinds and good weather for the rest of the evening. So
Yeah, well, this has been by far the best Head of the Charles we've had ever.
I think it's amazing.
Ever.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like heat wave.
Yeah.
Weather.
Yeah.
And no wind.
Yeah.
It's been perfect.
It's unbelievable.
I'm crossing my fingers for you.
Keep it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
for your
much.
time today,
My
and
pleasure.
I cannot wait to see how you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is Whitney Powell again, signing off from the 53rd Head of the Charles Regatta in Boston, Massachusetts.